I'm just going to take a few minutes to go over drawing exercise 9-1. I do have a video showing you the isometric view, view of a 3D object, a 3D model, and I'll have that in there with this as well. But when I'm looking, I've got my front view, I've got my top view, I've got my right side view. Okay, we're going to look at the print, and our print that we're looking at in the book shows us an isometric view. Okay, it shows us an isometric view, and I'm going to sketch the most descriptive of the shape is going to be my front view, so that's this one. And what I do, I make a lot of construction lines to start with. I'm not going to go in and draw this, but I'm going to show you kind of how I did. I got construction lines, and I made another layer that said auxiliary construction because I just got so many construction lines it was getting confusing. I'm going to first turn on my construction lines. Now there's a lot of lines in here. You don't have to pay attention to all of them. But the first thing I do is I box out my views. I box out this view, and I box out this view. All right. I don't necessarily. I did my right side view after I got my other view finished. All right, but I drew my front view, and then I just basically, after I drew the front view, I went and projected straight off my front view and made this auxiliary view. And to do that, I'm going to go and turn on my auxiliary construction lines. All right, and we'll look just a little bit of what we've done here. That line there, of course, you see it's not lining up with anything. Don't pay attention to it. I'm just going to get it out of the way so it's not confusing us. I take this first object line here and I just project it over like 2 inches from there. And then I started building my width, and I did all of that. You'll notice that these outside rails here stop when it gets to the back of the part right here. So that's where that line brings up and makes those stop. These lines project up, and so on and so forth. So you can go and create that object by just doing that. And these lines are at the same angle as this line. So I've got all that done, and then I can come and put my circle right here. And I've got my circle in there to where it's for true size and true shape. And that's where you want to put your dimensions on. And I'm going to go ahead and show you that as well. When I put my dimensions on, you can see that I've got dimensions going to the center of that circle on this view. I got 1.5 in that. Now, dimensioning this thing with it cocked at 45 degrees right here is a little bit difficult. Alright, so I can tell you what I did to get mine to where I was having trouble with the line dimensions and whatnot, trying to get that dimensioned. I took and rotated this whole view. After I drew it, I rotated it down 45 degrees to where it was setting vertical, and then I dimensioned it, and then I rotated it right back to where it came from. With the dimensions, I rotated them as well, and therefore I had my center line and everything facing the right direction, and it just made it a little bit easier for me. So you could do that if you wanted to. The only other thing that is probably going to cause you problems is putting these ellipses in. All right, you have to have an ellipse here, and you have to have an ellipse here, because when you look straight down on this hole, it's not going to give you a true round shape. That's why we have to have an auxiliary view. And the same thing over here. Now, in order to do that, you need to draw this circle first, put in your hidden lines. Okay, put in your hidden lines, and once you get those hidden lines put in, we can then project from where, and what I want you to look at, I project, I'm going to actually pick this line right here so it's highlighted. That is the line that goes all the way to the top up here and runs tangent with this ellipse. All right? And then if you look where it comes right here, that is where the line runs all the way up. It's this line right here. That line lines up, and it runs tangent with the ellipse. Okay? So I will show you how to create these ellipses there in just a second. So I've got that, and then I also know that my circle is going to give me true width is going to be 1.5. So from here to here is 1.5. Okay, so I got my ellipse. That's what you got to do to make that ellipse. You got to come up off of this and off of that. And then when you get ready to do it down here, you got to have construction lines that come off of this here and go straight over to here. And I had them, but you can see that I've trimmed them off. Okay, they were there, and then I trimmed them off to do that. And I'll show you why I trimmed them off, because to create that ellipse, it makes it easier if they've been trimmed off and I got a midpoint to actually pick on. All right, but the ellipse, the bottom of the ellipse lines up with this, top of the ellipse lines up with this. Okay, we are not going to put hidden lines in our front view that had to do with the ellipse, or in our top view that had to do with the ellipse, because the way it breaks out, and I showed you on the solid model, it becomes very confusing and very difficult to put those in, and I don't think we're necessary for us to be doing that. That's the beauty of a 3D software too, is that it takes care of those places that are broken out. You don't have to draw those shapes and things where it's going out the back side or the bottom of a part. It takes care of it for you. But we're not doing that. We're doing 2D, so we're going to not put the hidden lines for the ellipses. Okay, so that's a little bit about how to create that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go ahead and stop this video, and I'm giving you a tip sheet that shows you how the final views are going to look. You can do that, but I'm going to get set up and be ready to put in those ellipses, and I'm going to create one more video to put in the ellipses.